and I'll have the bargain bucket with that, with wings. And yeah, we'll go for the original recipe box meal with beans and hang on.
Click send first. Yeah. Make sure you click send and don't deliver until 10:30.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Welcome where you all at. Yeah, there you are. Yeah, good evening. Welcome. It's Monday night. It's live stream night, and we're back. Yeah, we had a week off last week. We're all laying out in the sun and things like that, and we just. Yeah, it was one of the nights. But anyway, it's bank holiday last week. We're back this week, Monday night live stream from eModels, emodels.co.uk. That's where you'll find the website, and that's where you'll find us four. We're all here today. Chris, Colin, Foxx, Ted and I. So we're all here. Yeah, good evening, everybody. How are you all? Who? Can you hear me out there?
Oh, yeah. I've got you.
Good. Right. Once again, what we're going to do tonight, we have no idea. It's up to you guys out there in chatland. Come along and join us in chat. I think what we're going to do this week is start off a little bit how we left it, not last week, the week before, with some questions and answers, because they were constantly coming. And I think we ran out of time last time. So we're going to do it again because it makes it an easy night for us because it's too hot in a workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should be all outside. I've actually only got my shirt on. I've got I'll try not to stand up halfway through the stream anyway.
I really hope your camera grip is tightened up properly so it doesn't suddenly drop off.
Don't ask him to stand up and get that box behind him because I
won't get that box from up there. Right, good evening, fellas. How are you all? Have you had a good week off and things like that? Got the tan topped up and things?
I'm half Scottish, half Irish. I'm just pallid and confused. I'm always that today.
I've got a full body tattoo, so I can't tell whether I'm sunburnt or not unless I look at the top of my head.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like it was 2 weeks ago that we were here. It feels pretty recent.
Sorry, mate.
You're both talking at once there.
Never mind, carry on. Well, I think what we should do first is, before we start, we'll go over to Foxx for the terms and conditions and everything else, and how to behave yourself and how to join in if you want to.
Yeah, welcome one and all. As always, this is your show. Now, if you're wondering about the headwear, if you remember the week before last, I said I'll wear a different hat every week. So Dad, a.k.a. Mike Mountain, a.k.a. one of your mods in chat, sent me a beret. So that's this week's hat. It's actually a little bit too small, so it's kind of cutting off all the blood supply to my brain.
How do we notice?
I was going to say, not that you'd notice the difference.
Yeah. Get your hair cut.
So I've got the kind of Citizen Smith. I've got I actually found a lot of 1970s, genuine 1970s badges in a drawer in the house. So I've got some genuine 1970s bling on the thing there. A bit Wolfie Smith, but there you go. Anyway, yes, this is your show. Well, I could wear my Jim and Army shirt as well for full Wolfie Smith, but it's too damn warm.
Proud of the people.
Proud of the people. Anyway, yes, welcome one and all. This is your show, as always. We're just going to sit here for, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just waffle like four old blokes in the pub. It's all about you guys hanging out in chat. If you're watching this, is the chat not up, I take it, Chris?
No, we don't have the chat up anymore.
Yeah, if you're watching this and you can't see any live chat anywhere, it's all about us interacting with you guys. So if you're watching this and you can't see the live chat, if you're watching it embedded in the eModels page or in Facebook or somewhere else, hit the YouTube icon that's in the bottom, that corner, one of the bottom corner, I don't know which way around I am, one of the bottom corners of the video player. Hit that, it'll take you to the YouTube page where you can join in the live typey chat. And you want to, because tonight, like Ted said, we're doing an AMA episode, an AMA, Ask Me Anything. We're asking you to just ask us questions about anything you want, anything at all, except religion and politics, obviously, and other retailers, obviously. But ask us anything, and we'll just answer your questions for the duration of the show. So if you want to get our attention, we've all got that chat in front of us. Two things you can do. First, you can write it in big, put your whole thing in big, fat, capital letters, or as Ted likes to call them, bold. Do you like the way he was? I could see him winding up, getting ready. Getting close. I'm getting ready. Bold. So yes, do put your comment in big, fat, capital letters. That gives us a chance to see it. But if you want to, you can do a super chat, which puts your comment in a coloured box, and then we have no way to miss it. It's right in front of us there, a big, fat, coloured box, if you want to do that. And as always, as I say, be nice in chat. You've got mods in there looking after you. They'll keep you safe and keep you protected. But if you cross them, they will rip you in half and eat you alive. So don't cross the mods. But I think that's about it, really.
Quano Man's put in the chat for you there, Foxx. Foxx, with that hat on, you need to do the Arnie voice and say I eat green berets for breakfast.
I get told off when I try and do an American. Oh, no, mind you, it wouldn't be American, would it? Oh, I eat green berets for breakfast.
That's not Arnie, though, is it?
Oh, Arnie voice. Oh, do you want to do an Arnie voice? I eat green. That would be I eat green berets for breakfast. You came here in that thing. You're braver than I thought. Not a tumor.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Didn't take as long.
I think before we, I see that chat is scrolling up pretty fast tonight, so I think we'll go across to Chris now and find out who's in, or at least do as many as he can before it scrolls up too fast.
It does move quite quickly. Right, I shall find my own chat and scroll back up to the top. Hang about, I'm scrolling.
Do I need to get the countdown?
Scrolling.
On standby. Diddle, diddle.
One sec.
Subtle, very subtle there. What?
Right. The first one I see in chat is a new name for us, I believe. HG Barnes. So welcome to the stream.
Welcome, HG.
Then we have me as Gross Models, but we won't worry about that. We have Model Making Mayhem. Hereafter just called Mayhem because it's very confusing. There's a lot of people called Model Making in there now. So
if you do try and put a comment addressed to anybody in chat, you can do the @ before the person's name. If you want to do a comment addressed to anybody like Model Making Guru, Model Making Mayhem, Model Making Trucker, if you do the @ please just make sure you. I've sent comments to myself so many times when I'm trying to say something to. So if you're doing the @ just make sure you choose the right one in the chat.
Right, we also have, I'll see if I can go through these quite quickly because, we have Graham, Dad Graham, Colin at Festa 67's workshop, but he won't be in there anymore because he can use his face words now, not finger words. So. Then Graham, then Colin, then Graham, then Colin, then Colin, then Graham, then H.G. Barnes, then Graham, then H.G. Barnes, then Graham. It looks like they were on their own in there for a little while, probably too long. Model Making Guru was there saying evening all, and a great big red heart. Oh. No. Oh. Then Dad, another one of your mods in there. Model Making Mayhem, Colin, Foxx, Mark, Dad, Trucker. There we go, Model Making Trucker, but just Trucker from now on. Got to be careful how you say that though. Dad, Trucker, Graham, Colin, Mayhem, Graham.
Colin Mayhem.
Dave
Claiborne and Brian Mill.
Trucker. Graham, Trucker, Sarah Jane. Mayhem, Graham, Cynical Steve, Dexterous Crafter, that's Nat, Equal Pete.
Maybe you should go all secondary school and just use everybody's surname.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't know what one's the surname. Is it just Crafter?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
McRobert.
I guess
Equal Pete. Is that a first name or a surname? You can't tell. It'd just be Equal or Pete.
Yeah, you could do like read the register, Ericston, Lines, Trucker, Lines.
Yeah. Barnes, Mayhem, Trucker, Mayhem, Trucker, Zadster. Is that just stir? Or...
Yeah, Dad would be Ad.
Equal Pete, Sarah Jane, Trucker, Equal Pete, Dexterous Crafter, Dad, Model Making Trucker, Crafter, Kieran Keith, Phil Kett, Paul Horner, Eric Graham, all the people that I've already said, Red Lynn, Brian Windmill, Red Lynn, Crafter, Robert, Dave Cardboard. So Windmill and Cardboard are both things, so that's okay. We feel safer now.
Get to the Almera, quick.
Jamie is here, as is Philip Prime, Phil Lewis, don't remember if I said that or not. Trucker, Prime, Quanaman, Man. Is that just Man then?
Man.
Yeah, it's just Man, yep.
There's another Man as well, isn't there, someone?
Man.
They might just be related, yeah. Andrew Preston, Anders, Paul Lyons. I'm getting near the end yet. Graham Williams, Andy M, Gemma Williams. I know that name from somewhere, but I won't worry about it. Edward Equal Pete, Paul Swicking Pig. Sean Anders, Swicking Pig. Michael Jackman, Swicking Pig. Barnes, Mayhem, Sarah Jane, Osric, Dave. Where's the rum gone Barker? It says power to the people, but he probably won't be in the chat for very long in that name. AJ. So is that just J? I'm confused by this surname thing.
Sarah. Is it Sarah and Jane or Sarah Jane or Jane?
I think it's Sarah Jane because it's got a hyphen in the middle.
Yeah,
so Tim Young.
I think the surname is Adventures.
Peter Diamond. Fish Fingers,
You see what I did there?
Liquid Len, Andy M, Spid.
So Andy M would just be.
Pretty sure there's names I've already seen. Oh, I saw that big comment. That must be near the end now. Totally Scale Models. That's Steve, Wayne Hayward, Stuart Tucker, and that's it. Up to date. And if I missed you, I apologise. But the chat moves and things. So yes, you're all more than welcome to join in and put in things in the chat, and we'll hopefully respond to some of them.
Yeah.
So yes, that's it for me. I'll see you later. Bye.
And I just sussed out to keep up with you. I'll just wait at the end now. I'll just wait at the end to catch up and say, and that's it. So yeah.
I'm seriously thinking about after review stopping that section because it gets longer and longer every day, not every week.
The fact that everyone waits until Chris is about to read their name and then they just go typey.
Yeah.
Now, very, very quickly before we get going, I have to apologise. I do have my eModels mug. Ted, what is this?
It's an eModels mug, an eModels mug, eModels mug, eModels mug.
I do have my eModels mug of delicious water to drink from, but I can't because I just took a swig a minute ago and I got some new washing up liquid. It's not very exciting. I got some washing up liquid, and we use various ones. But I got some of that, the fairy purple stuff. That's the elderberry and Ponzi flower, and it's like smells really nice. It smells like Robinson's fruit juice, but it stays on the cups even if you.
It doesn't taste like Robinson's fruit juice.
No, it tastes like it's just oh. So I've rinsed it in boiling water. I've cleaned it out twice. It still tastes like washing. So. I can't drink from that tonight, so you won't see me. I'll have to drink from the other mug, but I do apologise.
I do have my eModels mug ready, but I'm still worrying about picking it up because the handle did break off a little bit. So I've taped it on, and it's probably okay, but it's my second choice of mug.
Clink spill, it's not okay. Now, before we get going, I know we're doing everybody's questions, but one that I saw very quickly, and I can answer it really, really quickly. Peter Diamond says, "Hello, can someone help me? How do I get super glue off a plastic part, please? Very simple. Freeze it. If you can either get super glue debonders, which break the super glue back down again, you could potentially wash it in soapy water, warm soapy water. That might break it down, but you can, if you want to, stick it in the freezer, and that makes it brittle, and you can just scrape it off.
Yeah,
might not be perfect, but it'll get rid of it. If you ever need to disassemble a super glued kit, like a resin kit or something, you can put it in the freezer. After a few hours, you can just snap the pieces apart. That's the downside of super glue.
Yeah, it depends whereabouts on the plastic it is. Sometimes you can just use sanding sticks and buff it down back to the plastic. You're really going to be a bit stuck with it, really. With it. See what I did there?
See what you did there, Ted?
I'm impressed with that, mate.
Yes. But anyway, yes, so don't forget, folks and ladies and lasses and lads and lasses, it's an AMA tonight, so ask us questions. We've got a few coming in, but we need all the questions, please.
Yep, and they don't have to be model related. They could be anything you want, and we'll try and answer them to the best of our ability, either lie or just avoid the question altogether.
Yeah, but yeah, no religion, no politics, but we'll answer anything else. Well, most of anything else. Apart from model making truckers question, which I won't answer that.
Yeah, no, I saw a question from Nat. She says, "What's Chris drinking tonight?" I got water tonight.
Whatever he can get his hands on.
Yeah, and sad news for me. It's water as well because I'm clean out of gin. All the gin has gone. There's no
Where's all the
gin.
gin?
This is a gin-free house now.
No, that's the wrong house, Ted. You're in the wrong house.
That's just not on, mate. I can hear the Hovish music playing in the background, the walking away music, isn't it?
Yeah, what you don't know is every time Ted runs out of gin, he just moves house to house with gin in it.
Yeah, I've heard that one's got an underground lair full of gin.
Right. Where else? Right. Shall we go over to Festa then for Festa's factoid of the week?
Yeah, Mama Foxx missed this last week, so we've got on this very day in 1946, cue the hissing. The British television license was first introduced.
Oh.
And apparently it cost £2 and included radio as well, a license for an extra £1. And you had black and white and colour licenses. And apparently, this is, according to this, as of 2002, the prices were £112. So I don't know what they are now.
107.
Going rate, a couple of £100 for a TV license now, but is it really relevant this day and age with all of the TV on demand? That's another thing. We've also
Hang on. I'm not taking this berry off. It's too much.
He's not going to take this beret off.
I have a
It's
different
been
hat.
ages. We got a couple of deaths today. The first one was Sir Christopher Cockerell, and he died on the 1st of June 1999 at the age of 88, and he was the English inventor of the hovercraft. He was an electronics engineer with the Marconi Company from 35 to 1950, where he worked on airborne navigational equipment and on radar.
Oh.
Oh,
And
bless
he
you.
was neither Russian nor German.
And we've got another death, because people like my unpronounceable names, apparently. So apologies to anyone who's Spanish, but I'll have a go.
This one, you'll be fine.
This bloke is called Pio del Rio Ortega with an H.
That was all right.
And he died in 1945 at the ripe old age of only 63. And he was a Spanish neuroscientist who discovered the microglia cells of the brain, which he pinpointed by creating a new method of staining the tissue samples with silver carbonate.
Ooh.
There you go. Very talented by the sound of that.
You did
So
very badly with that pronunciation.
rest in peace, P.O. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Good.
So hopefully Mama Foxx is happy because she's had a few Festa's factoids.
Yeah, she was grumpy last week. She's like, I don't get any festive facts.
Certainly made up for missing last week.
Mate, I could have rung you up and you could have done it on the phone.
Here's your fact for this week, man.
It's your fact.
Festa's factoids out of
Yeah,
it.
I can hear clapping from downstairs, so she's
Yeah, she'll be remembering this for the next bank holiday show. You make sure he rings me now.
Yeah, Festa's
You just have to make
factoids
someone
available via email.
text them through to Mama Fox when you're not here.
Yeah. You can join Festa's Factoids mailing list for a factoid edition.
Congratulations on joining Festa's Factoid mailing list. to quit, please text stop.
Yeah, please send your list of unpronounceable names to Helgen35@GeoCities.
Please send your scan of the entire German phone book too. See, like Bob Ross could read the phone book and mesmerize you.
Oh, yeah.
Festa, you could read the phone book and we'd just all die laughing, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I'd trip over myself, don't I? I'm useless, mate. Let's be honest.
Right, we have some actual questions.
Right, I've been looking for them. I can't find yeah. Go on.
First question from Spid. Question: who put the bop in Bop Shwop Bop Bop Shwop? Is that I guess
The Big Bopper.
is that a reference to a popular beat combo or something?
Who put the bop in the bop short bop? Yeah, that, right, yeah. Ha! I did see that one, but I've lost it again.
Joe Buxton says, "What's the best scriber you have in store for car bodies?" I like the.
I don't. That's something I don't possess actually.
I've got the Tamiya 2. Tamiya
Yeah, the Mark II panel line Dubry.
That's quite nice. It comes with spare blades in the little recessed area. With the secret, you can also put messages in there if you're a spy. You can do little spy things. But yeah, I like that one. It's a really good scriber. Other ones are available. Well, there's no real bad scribers. Some people like chisels as well, but I don't know how comfortable you'd be using chisels. I don't think I have any chisels.
Yeah, I've got another one I made myself out of a mechanical pencil, and I just replaced the lead with a sewing needle.
You're a mechanical pencil.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Yeah. Yeah, you can also, I suppose you could do the same with a snapped drill, couldn't you, in a pinhole?
Yeah.
Something like that. So, yeah, you can make your own.
Get the questions coming in, folks.
Right, keep,
Not just making anything at all.
Yeah. What's everybody been doing? Belly and bench. That's what we've got to do. We always do belly and bench. A lot of people are moaning about belly and bench, but now we don't. It's part of the show. So what's in your belly and what's on the bench? Tonight I had fajita type things and nachos and all Mexican tonight. A bit of dancing around the hat after that.
I had a nice sausage roll earlier with a bit of brown sauce on it, just to tide me over. So, yeah.
Wow.
I had we on a Monday night we tend to just Mama Fox and I just fend for ourselves because I'm usually busy getting everything set up. So
Yeah.
I was lazy and I got a can of vegetable soup, a can of vegetable curry, and half a pack of pasta tubes, and that was my dinner. Mixed it all together, made it.
I had a cottage pie tonight.
Ooh.
Mm.
Mama Fox was going to have a cottage pie, but you had to defrost it for 24 hours, and we didn't realise, so she didn't have a cottage pie.
Can I
Cottage pie tomorrow then.
Right, just scrolling on down, just trying to find if there's any questions coming in.
Let's have a look. Yeah, do make sure when you put the questions in, if you can put them in capitals, just so they stand out, or do a super chat, just so we can stand out from the general chatter.
Graham McRoberts said, Ted, would I ever build a 196 scale radio-controlled aircraft carrier? No, I build big, but 196, it's going to come in about, what?
30 meters? I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to come in a good 10 feet at least. That's a small one. That's something like the Invincible. Yeah.
He's only just skirting divorce by self-sequestered up in the attic.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I would never. Yeah, I could live in it. I have seen a large aircraft carrier built in a huge, like 1/24 scale, and a guy has actually was actually built on a hull of a rowing boat, and it was actually he used to sit in it and drive it around the lake. So that was quite a while ago.
There is one in the chats saying, "Can Chris say their name?" Towards the bottom, yeah, it's towards the bottom, just above kitchen table modeler.
Can Chris say my name?
Yeah,
I can say that. It's Quano Man. Yeah, there you go. Done. There was a question I did see. I just scrolled down to find that, but it was Glenn Smith has a question. Says, "Hi Fox, I'm waiting for eModels to deliver a Mr. Hobby Procon Boy PS 290 trigger 0.5. Do you have to thin Vallejo or AK paints, or just use from the bottle?" It would depend on what paints they are, really.
Yeah.
Golden rule with airbrushing is most paints you'll need to thin, even airbrush paints like Vallejo Air, a little bit. Just with Vallejo Air, a little tiny bit of thinner, but you might 0.5 airbrush we won't need to.
I think AK. I've actually used them out of a bottle through through a 0.4, and they have sprayed straight out the bottle. But I've got away with it.
Yeah, I mean the general rule of thumb is whatever you're spraying, make sure it's at the very thickest, the consistency of skim milk. Like Vallejo Game Color, that's like molasses. You can't, if you put that in your airbrush, it's just a block of paint. I've tried it. It's like you can't spray out. Vallejo Air, a little tiny bit thinner, maybe, if not always though. But yeah, just it'll. What was the question again? I've forgotten already.
Do you have to thin it?
Yeah. So basically, just make sure whatever the paint is, get it to the consistency of skin. It depends on your airbrush and the pressure you spray out and so on as well. But you'll get the hang of it. But yeah, Vallejo Air is a great way to start because that's kind of most thinned of most of them. The only things you don't need to thin are lacquers because they're already really super thin. The Vallejo metal colors because they're really, really thin. They're acrylics, but they're like thin like lacquers. And that's enamels. Possibly you don't need to thin because they're also very thin as well. But yeah, acrylic paints, yeah.
And if this is your first airbrush and you're thinking about you want to put paint through it, just pick up a couple of bottles of airbrush ready paint just to get used to the airbrush, and that'll then once you're used to it, you can start thinking your paints down. You can compare the two as well. Your standard Vallejo and your airbrush Vallejo. You can see how the difference in thickness. But,
do keep in mind as well, if you've got the 0.5 brush, that's quite a large nozzle. It's ideal for covering big areas, but you're not going to get lots of fine little detail work because it's a big nozzle. So you might want to practice before you spray anything. Just practice doing close-up work and lower pressures. Normally about 15 to 20 psi for most paints.
Yeah, I usually use something like 0.5 for putting clear coats and things on, sort of blasting the whole model.
Yeah, 0.5s are great for like just covering a big area fast. You can use them for fine detail work. They're just not.
Do you mean when you want to
slap it on? Exactly.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
or,
exactly. When you want to do that.
Yeah.
But like I said, they're fine for smaller close-up work. You just need to get a little bit of practice in on some card or something. Just getting used to going closer because with a big, massive nozzle like a 0.5, if you go too close at a good pressure, you probably just get spiders everywhere. So it's all about practicing. With the 0.5, you want to practice a bit about working close up to get smaller areas. But you'll have fun with it. It's a great airbrush. I wouldn't have any problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, we still make mistakes, and I still start airbrushing and pick something up and get a spider all over it.
Yeah. I still sit there and like try to I judge thickness and thinness, and sometimes I still sit there going trying to spray paint out, and I'm like, so I'll put a bit of thinner in, now it's spraying water. I'm like, oh. But yeah, don't worry about spraying ratios. That's all nonsense. Forget like percentage of this and percentage of that. It just make it the consistency of skim milk. That's all you need to know, basically.
Yeah.
Question?
AJ has another question. It says not that AJ has another question. There's another question, and this one's from AJ. That's what I meant. Yeah. What are the main types of plastics that model kit manufacturers use, and how does this affect the way they are painted, etc.?
Good question.
Well, there's polystyrene.
I don't know. So yeah,
Generally, there's polystyrene, which is the general sort of plastic they use throughout the model kit world, and there's sometimes you'll get vinyl kits. They'll really a bitch to work with, but
word, Ted.
Yeah, it wasn't a rude word.
It was a rude word.
No, it was intimated, but yeah, don't see very many vinyl kits. You'll see vinyl figures usually, but
I've got a 1/6 scale Odo that was gifted. That's a vinyl figure, and I've got my big Master Chief.
But after that, I can't think.
Yes, as well.
But that's about as much as you'll get, really. Not many other people you'll very rarely find a model kit that's not made out of polystyrene plastics.
If you with polystyrene and vinyl, there's no real painting risks. Just go for it. The only risk is if you've got ABS components. A lot of Bandai kits use ABS. ABS is a plastic you won't come across often, but especially you will in Bandai kits, and that's a plastic that if it comes into contact with thinners or solvents, it can corrode and break and weaken. So the only thing you need to be careful of is if a kit has any ABS, which is acetyl butade things.
Yeah. It's not a braking system in the car.
No. That's the thing why people that make Gunpla and Bandai Star Wars kits, you won't see them thinning down some paint with Tamiya X28 thinner and washing it all over the model, because if it finds a little bit where there's no primer and it attacks the plastic, it can break or crack the plastic if there's a lot of tension there. But Bandai kits are great because it will say in the instructions what each sprue is made of. It'll say PS polystyrene or ABS for ABS, strangely enough. So you can tailor your painting accordingly. Gunpla, a lot of inner frames used to be ABS. That's the only one you have to watch for is ABS, basically. Final, everything else is fine. Vinyl figures are great. You'll just find that it's hard to get a primer to stick, so you have to handle them a bit more carefully.
Yeah, Speedy Q8 says ABS equals hard, brittle stuff. Yeah,
it just doesn't like thinners. You have to, with ABS, you have to use non-volatile weathering methods. So things like the UMP clay washes, which is basically water and clay. You can use those if instead of using like thinned enamel washes or thinned oil paint washes, which you can't really do. You can, but you've got to be really careful. It's not worth the risk. It might be all right, but it's not worth the risk. So often things like the UMP clay washes and non-solvent based, non-thinner based washes are always the best. When I do my big Millennium Falcon for eModels, which I'm filming at the minute, the weathering on that it's an eModels kit. It's a Bandai kit. And even Bandai's polystyrene is weird and can break. So you'll see when I do the weathering that I don't use things like thin washes. You'll see how I get around it. So it's only Bandai kits you have to worry about, really.
Yeah, cool. Have we got any more questions, or we're going to catch up on the Billion Bench?
Dexterous Crafter says, what is Chris drinking tonight?
I did that one.
Did you? Okay, I'm kind of going back a bit. There was a question that somebody... Swigging Pig did suggest that acetone would dissolve superglue for the question about superglue.
Yeah.
It would also dissolve plastic, so you've got to be careful with that. That could be a downside.
Yeah, what you could do is apply it sparingly with a cotton bud or something and see if it just loosens it. And then if it damages the plastic, you can maybe just fill that back in with some sprue glue.
Glenn Smith saying, thanks, Ted, for your great tip of cutting very small parts off of a sprue using blue tack. I found a flat-ended blade and it worked great.
Oh, right. That's a while ago. I think I did that on the Challenger tank. So yeah.
Probably only just watched it. Paul Lyons has an interesting question. He says, would you rather have a pause or a rewind button in your life? Now, I would assume that if you got a pause button and a rewind button, I assume it rewinds everything but yourself. Because otherwise you'd press the pause button and then that'd everything would freeze completely. You wouldn't be able to unpause it because you'd be paused. So I'm assuming it pauses everything except you and rewinds everything except you. In which case it would have to be rewind, wouldn't it? Because that's just like a pause button. You could just rewind it again.
I think a rewind button to go back and probably do the things better that you knew it could do better, or go and relive something again because it was that good.
Yeah, because you can't. If something happens and you have to pause, the chances are you're going to pause too late anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just be thinking about it and think, I don't want to unpause it because it's going to happen badly.
Yeah.
You're either going to be
rewind, wouldn't it?
Good. So you want to be able to. So you may as well rewind because then you can rewind and try and avoid what the thing you just saw. Like
I mean, is it going to be rewind? 5 seconds or 5 days, or can you just rewind for as much as you like?
Rewind. There's a throwback to the old video cassette rental.
Yeah.
Who remembers that? Be kind and rewind.
Yeah. Blockbusters, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Other video outlets were available.
Well,
Blockbusters isn't, so.
Model making trucker starts off with belly KFC. You need to tell us what. You can't just say KFC. You need to tell us what. We need to, especially when it's KFC. We need to know all the details. Ben's been doing some filming for my YouTube channel.
I can have a look on the menu. I've still got the menu up. So
I wish you hadn't done that, Ted, because now I really want KFC again. God damn it!
I've got no idea where everyone is in the chat.
Lines is saying belly bacon wrapped hot dogs covered in chili and fries. Bench is a 172nd Handley Page Victor.
Sarah Jane says meat feast pizza in belly, but doesn't say bench.
Well, it doesn't matter.
That's fine. We don't care about the bench really. It's just belly.
We were just talking about this before, weren't we? About what we've been doing. I don't know if I've asked you what we've been doing this week, but really not a lot because it's just been too damned hot in the workshop.
Absolutely. Sergeant Bones has got haggis and mash and nothing on the bench today.
Diamond's got tomato soup on the bench and a Spitfire. I'll use your commas, people. He's got tomato soup on the bench, a Spitfire Mark 1.
You'll have to remember next week we'll be marking on punctuation.
Week after we're going to move on to grammar.
Yeah, but then do we lose points for badly reading out loud?
Totally Scale Model says belly, chicken nuggets and chips, bench, Tamiya 148 F14D Tomcat, just finishing the last little bits.
Looking good, that, mate.
That is an awesome. That's a classic kit, that isn't it? It's huge.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, he's done a good job on that. Well done.
It's one of those milestone kits. If you make tanks, you have to at some point make a Tamiya Sherman.
Yeah.
Make aircraft at some point, you have to make a Tamiya 148 F14. So.
Yeah.
Ostrich 9000 says belly, bolognese, and a mint magnum.
Did you say bolognese? I like that.
Bolognese. Yes, it's a bolognese.
Bolognese, yeah.
And a mint magnum. Could have made it a cornetto, couldn't he? Cornetto.
I think you should go back and read the whole thing in a fake Italian accent, Ted. You've done it now. So go on, start again, but start off with your favourite.
We recommend, sir, for the meal, we have a belly bolognese with a mint magnum to finish.
I think this might be racist. I don't know.
I can't even find it, but I can't even understand it either, so I've got no idea.
Oh, dear.
On the bench, Ted?
On the bench, he's got a BV141.
Oh, yeah, I found it.
I'm hearing applause from downstairs, so Mama Fox is very easily pleased. Kitchen Table Modeler says, belly, chicken soup, bench, Tamiya 135th, SDKFZ 7.1, semi-track, 20mm flak veerling again, commissioned build.
Nice.
Philip Prime says, spag bol in belly and just finished the lockdown Sherman diorama.
Spag bol to go with the bolognese.
Phil East has got leftover BBQ wrap in the belly and just started the road.
Did you trip up when you read BBQ then?
Well, I said about reading out loud, mate. You know, a man of multiple skills here, mate. And on the bench has just started the road roller that they won from eModels.
Right, Spilly Q8. I've got his son here. Had a healthy late belly. We're sitting to eat now. Cornish pasty and parboiled. I don't know Is that and parboiled then roast potatoes, carrots and broccoli with gravy, homemade rhubarb crumble for afters.
Kieran Keith asks a question for Ted. Remember, keep those questions coming in, folks. We need more. Question for Ted. Would you build a 1350 QE class carrier? I don't know what that is.
It's Queen Elizabeth, isn't it? It's the new one.
It's the new aircraft carriers. I've not seen any models of it about yet. I believe that Airfix do have one in the pipeline. That's the only people I've seen with a particular model. I don't know whether I would build one. It's not my sort of thing. No, I'm sort of apart from the Titanic, but because that's an iconic ship. I suppose Queen Elizabeth classes as well, but no. To do it any justice, it would need to be a big model, nicely detailed, lots of aircraft and things on it, but probably not. Well, no.
Let's be honest, when it comes to Ted, he likes big boats and he cannot lie. So...
yeah. I'll be just getting the Titanic finished, and there'll be an email pop up from Pete. Hey Ted, would you
know it's going to happen.
Yeah, would you like to build a huge Queen Elizabeth class aircraft carrier?
Ted Trumpeter doing a 148th Ark Royal. Oh. Tim Young says, I had beef mince stir fry with sweet corn, courgette, and rice. Lots of spice. On the bench, a pair of Hurricanes in Rhodesian Training Group Silver. Ooh.
Cool. Stuart Trucker, Billy, jelly bean sours.
Ooh.
Nice round meal, yeah. And bench, one for Foxx, Tyrannosaurus Rex with machine gun.
Yes, dinosaurs with guns. Yes.
Oh yeah,
10 points, 10 XP straight away. Is this actually a model of the thing, or is it a model of a T-Rex and you're adding machine guns? Because this is also correct. That makes it more awesome. Donald McKenzie says, spicy chicken burgers with salsa, mayo and cheese and chips. Bench. I'm not going to do that anymore.
And the chips bit faded away somewhere.
Yeah, I can do Arnie sometimes, and sometimes I can't. Depends what you're saying. Bench at 1/537 scale, USS Enterprise now painting the Aztecs. Yeah,
that's a very strange scale.
It's a Revell.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Yes, have fun with the Aztecs. It's which Enterprise? You can't say. Is it A, B, C, D? Refit? Which one?
Oh, yeah, we need to know the intricate facts.
Yeah, you can't just say Enterprise. You have to say which one, because then we know what.
It could be the spaceship one. It could be the seagoing one.
Yeah, it could be the flat top, couldn't it? Yeah.
Don't think the seagoing one had Aztecs on it.
Yeah, Aztecs, the paneling pattern.
Trek
modelers know what an Aztec is, Ted.
I just thought he was a member of the crew.
You've shown yourself up there, haven't you? I don't. HG Barnes has I just said H. Oh, God. I just said H.
It's because you're talking proper like what we do.
I feel so southern. HG Barnes. I'm sorry. HG Barnes. I'm not really sorry. HG Barnes says, when dry brushing, it's hard because we asked him to do it in capitals. It's like the shouting. It's quite bizarre. When dry brushing, how long do you wait to move forward? I find my dry brushing loses the effect.
Just do more dry brushing till you get the right effect. Yeah.
No, I think it means how long do you leave it before you do another layer of dry brushing so you don't smear all the paint. If you're doing acrylics, 5-10 minutes. Don't forget, if you're doing acrylics, you can give your model a quick blast with a hairdryer. If you're doing oil paints, yeah, you're going to need to leave it 24 to 48 hours to do the next dry brush. If you're doing multiple dry, I'm assuming what it means is when I do a dry brush coat, how long is it before I can do another dry brush coat without messing up the previous one? Acrylics, 5-10 minutes. Yeah. Oils, a couple of days, maybe. But you can, if you've done dry brushing with oils, you can hairdryer it if it's a very, very light dry brush. It's not ideal, but it does work.
Simon Payne says, Billy, meat feast pasta. And bench was unfortunately my ankle, had to be pinned and plated, so I haven't been able to start any models. But thinking of starting to finish it when the cast comes off. Yeah, yes, Who
was it that fell off a jetty into a pond? I know somebody did. Who was it? Was that Simon or was that Steve? Or who was it? Somebody...
I don't know. You fell into a pond.
It's a good excuse to be sitting outside in the sun. Anyway.
I can suggest another kit for you to build when you do. eModels still have the Lindbergh 1-to-1 scale foot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you could always build that, and you could build it and customize it to have a broken bit and a plate on it.
Yeah.
In my head now, I've just got, there will be a kit on the bench when the cast comes off.
What you could do when you go back to take the cast, go back to get the cast off, you could take your foot in a bag, couldn't you, and say, "This, I've got this. It fell off."
This fell out of my foot.
I stuck a ruler in the plaster cast because I had an itch, and this is what happened.
Next question we have
We've got TFCs. Have you, or do you convert 1/72 plastic chips to radio control? You can actually do that. You can get servos and little motors and speed controllers, really tiny stuff, but yeah, they would go.
Yeah, I've seen someone. I did one of the 144 tugboats. I know someone that's converted that to radio control. It's half the size of the 1/72 one. So yes, it must be possible.
Yeah.
You have to remember that, and they're not ships and boats, but a lot of the old Tamiya 135th tanks, which are about, they're not much bigger than some of these tugboat kits and things like that. You get like a model of an aircraft carrier, it's still about that wide. The old 135th tanks that Tamiya used to make and still do. If you look inside the hull, they've got mouldings for batteries, because they were designed as model kits. But if you wanted to make your own little motors and stuff, you could. So yeah, you can do both.
Yeah, at one time you were restricted in the size about how far down in size you could go because of the size of the servos and all the speed controls and things like that. But now there's the really tiny stuff out there.
Everything's been miniaturized. Michael Jackman says, "Belly, scampi and chips." Oh, scampi and chips. You've got to say that in northern accent. Belly, scampi and chips.
Scampi and chips.
Bench Airfix 1600th RMS Queen Elizabeth with lights. I think we should read all these in silly voices. We should do like a what the papers say and give each one a different voice. Who remembers what the papers say? Only old people.
Graham Roberts said, "Ted, 7'6" in length by 13" wide. HMS Invincible. That's that's about the size in one.
That's going to get in the loft hatch, is it, Ted?
Yeah. It's still going to be big, and it's 7 feet.
I think Foxx has to read the next one out from Phil Lewis.
Phil Lewis says, "Sausage rolls. Ooh. Sausage rolls with baked beans. Bench. Can't do that in silly voice. Bench. Tamiya Parasaurolophus. Parasaurolophus, and also a 14 30th. I'm going to stop doing silly voices. Doing the Tamiya Parasaurolophus. Hang on, I'll show you a Parasaurolophus. Get the cabinet open. That's a Parasaurolophus. He's building one of them that's a lot bigger, basically. Tamiya Parasaurolophus, one of them bigger, and also sorting circuits for Enterprise refit type nav lights and strooms. Yes, he's making the big version of one of that. It's a little 1/35th Parasaurolophus. He's making a big one of those.
Well, it depends how close you get it to the camera.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's really big if I do it there. Curse you and your sudden yet expected inevitable betrayal.
Spidey Q8's asking a question for Foxx. How delicious is Nuln oil?
It's approximately 1 billion times more tasty than Agrax Earthshade, which tastes like all the backsides of the universe combined. Nuln oil, if you're a brush licker, if you don't know what it is, Nuln oil and Agrax Earthshade are two Citadel paints. They're called shades. They're like washes, basically. And they're just, one is black. Nuln oil is black. It's a black wash. And Agrax Earthshade is a brown wash, like a sepia tint. If you're a little bit of a brush licker, you get a point on your brush and do that when you paint. You get a little bit of paint. The Nuln oil tastes, you don't notice it, whatever. If you get a little bit of Agrax Earthshade and you lick your brush, you've just eaten a skunk. It's just horrible. It's like a skunk just did it smell into your mouth, and it's there for weeks. Just don't lick your brush if you use Agrax Earthshade. Oh, it is the worst.
Anders says, Belly, it's Diet Tuesday and Thursday this week. Is that two diet days? That's not normal.
2 diet days, that's right.
So today wasn't. So he had a bacon and cheeseburger with fries for lunch and a cheese sandwich and some fruit tonight. His Panzer IV is still lurking there, but he's on a bit of a hold at the moment, as we all are, really.
Yeah, I think if he's expanded to 2 diet days, then he is allowed to have twice as much crap on the other days.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. Patrick Stachewski says hi. Hello.
Mate.
Ian Thompson says, I'll read this one because I know what this is. Ian Thompson says, Belly enchiladas. And bench is the KV-128 Storm Surge. That's a Tau battle suit from the Games Workshop. I think they might have one in stock, actually. It might be in stock. The KV-128 Storm Surge is like a big, it's like Warhammer Gundam. It's great.
Simon Bones is saying that he likes turtles.
Oh, no. Read it out, Colin. Go on in your inimitable voice.
I like turtles.
And what are turtles, Colin? Are they a thing?
Turtles with shells. They're a thing, aren't they?
Turtles with shells.
Oh dear, I'm going to have to press the button.
I just
Sorry,
realised the irony of that.
I've got another button I can press for 1 minute.
Pigeons.
I do love that. I can
'Cause
see
they
you thinking that on the turtles with.
Yeah, with
No, I had to do the pigeons button.
did you?
So.
did you pigeons? Yeah, pigeons, because they coo.
I was just when we were off camera, then I was saying to Colin, I love the fact we could see his thought praise going turtles. With...
I didn't want that microphone there anyway.
Oh dear.
Graham McRobert says, in the belly beer and a bench is a bomb site. Enough said.
Yeah.
As Ted will tell you, you don't really want to mix alcohol and workbench work because you'll just end up with a model you don't like. Or a boat with wings or something.
Fish Fingers says, Belly, cheap frozen White Castle cheeseburger sliders and a Diet Coke. I don't know, it sounds lovely. I don't know anything about it.
What is a slider?
I don't know who White Castle is. I know what a cheeseburger is. I don't know what a
hang on,
slider is.
Oh, White Castle. White Castle is it's like Five Guys or.
Oh right, okay. There,
yeah.
obviously I can't get one then. And on his bench is a big sailing ship. He'll be giving that answer for the next few years.
Yeah. Do we assume then that Fish Fingers is in the US? Because I don't think we have White Castle over here, do we? But White Castle.
I've never heard of it.
I'm just thinking, is it something like Rustlers or something like that?
No, well, with White Castle, it's a chain. It's a takeaway chain in the US.
I want to know what a
Or
cheeseburger
is that
slider
Newcastle?
is, though.
I don't know. What is a slider? Is that like a sloppy Joe?
It's a cheeseburger that slides.
It slides.
They all slide if you push them hard enough.
What made it then was the little at the end.
Yeah.
My information is correct.
Your public service announcement for the night.
What we do? Where are we up to? Fish Fingers, wasn't it? Ba-ba-dum. She Barnes says neither rewind. Basically, you say not rewind or pause, but a button that says keep your mouth shut. Model Making Trucker confirms the KFC was a family boneless feast. I like that. You get the fillets, you get the chicken balls, and you get the fries, and and then actually Nat Dexterous Crafter expands on it more and says Belly 10-piece boneless KFC bucket fish, which is much better at Lewis than the actual facts for food.
Oh, absolutely. Good factoid.
Yeah, 10-piece boneless KFC bucket feast bench. Still working on trying to finish my Tiger Diamond art.
Oh yeah, they're quite the rage at the moment. I know.
Oh yeah, they're pretty mint, mate. I saw a picture of that at the weekend. Yeah.
It reminds me of my friend. One of my friends, Nikki. She's an artist, and she actually does dot art. She basically makes a billion little tiny dots of card with a hole punch, and then puts it all together into a piece of artwork. It takes a month.
All right.
Reminds me of that. Speedy Curator says, "What's the difference between a comma and a cat?" A comma had a pause at the end of its clause, and a cat has claws at the end of its paws. That wasn't really worth the build-up, was it?
No. Kieran Keith says belly if it's, and bench is a 172nd FX BV141 and FW190. I don't know what they are.
FX BV14. What's a BV? Focke-Wulf 190 and a BV141. What's that?
Must be a fighting duo. Must be a dueling duo or something from FX.
Michael Jackman says, I'm fed up with KFC now. It's been open for 2 weeks. we actually had KFC one day last week, and the next day we had KFC again. It's like,
yeah.
Model Making Mayhem says, bench. No bench. Tidy up times. Too hot to have been playing Darksiders 3. Belly, but yeah, it's too hot to work, so I'm going to turn on my games console or PC and put more heat in the room. That's all we do. Belly, burgers and chips with veggies, and a mug of Iron Brew made in Scotland from Gunther's. The Paul Line says the whole of Italy has dropped their heads in the shade at Ed's attempt at an accent.
Yeah, we should probably apologise for things like that.
How do you respond to that, Ted?
I'm just trying to find out where we are. Where are we?
Totally Scale Model says, question, why don't eModels do a monthly prize for the gallery? There's no gallery.
Yeah, there hasn't been a gallery for a while, my friend.
Yeah. When they redid the website last year, the gallery wasn't part of the new software setup.
Yeah.
It might come back if they can get it to it, but it's a whole different back end software, so that just wasn't part of the service that was available, unfortunately.
Yeah, but if you want to show your pictures off, you can send them in to the guys at the Facebook page and see if we can start.
We used to do a monthly thing where we'd pick someone out and send them a prize for their entry. But
kind of got put to bed when the website redesign happened last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was literally there's no software in the software they use. There's no provision for that kind of gallery backend, unfortunately. Sadly. Bench what James McIntyre says bench 135th Tacom King Tiger, belly, onion rings, and brownies. Ooh. He's not making a Tacom King Tiger belly. I inserted the comma for him.
HG Barnes says, what does everyone use to keep your space organised? Well, in an attempt to keep my space organised, I've got some of the Hobby Zone things you can see behind me there.
Yep. I also have Hobby Zone things.
Yeah, I've got some things from IKEA, but the rest of this, all of this is just a sham. Under here is totally disarray and disorganised. Yeah.
We don't want to see how you're underneath organised.
Yeah, I'll probably say sitting down.
We don't want to see your underneath disorganisation.
Yeah. I was going to say a wife, but she'll probably beat me, so I'll say Hobby Zone.
Yeah. If you haven't checked it out, there is actually a section on the eModels website, and if you go in the menu that Ted always hovers over when you're doing what's in store, and you can't keep away from it, there is a whole section just called Workshop Organisers or Workbench Organisers, and that's
I think so. Yeah.
Stuff. It's brilliant. Just you have to make it yourself, but it's good fun. It's just awesome stuff.
Yeah. Don't forget, we are asking you questions tonight. We will get down to them, but we'll put your questions in as well. But also try and work through belly and bench. But if there's some questions, we'll pick them out and we'll get to them.
Phil Lewis confirms he's making the AMT Enterprise refit. That's the old kit. I've got the 1984 Voyage Home kit that I opened up and looked at and thought, I'm never going to make that because it's got raised Aztec paneling on it. It's like, it's smooth completely. I'm not. It's just going to stay in the box. There was a comment. Tiger Stripes 120. Welcome, Tiger Stripes. New name in chat. It says he has a Revell USS Voyager he's trying to make. It's not a bad kit. It's not a bad kit at all. That for Revell Star Trek stuff. Most of them are garbage, but the Voyager is pretty good, and it's not SNA. Oh, it might be the Revell. The Federation Runabout is quite a good kit as well.
Then Phil's talking about is that the AMT Enterprise refit?
I just did that one.
Oh right, yeah. I was just trying.
He didn't do the one where Zadster said,
I read
the shame of it.
The one above it that he was from Tiger Stripes.
You can tell how behind him in chat we are because I've just got to Zadster saying, H, oh, the shame of it. Phil Kett's got belly spaghetti carbonara. Hey, there's a spaghetti carbonara. Bench a TARDIS.
I thought we weren't doing the accents anymore.
Yeah, I won't say spicy meatball.
Gold.
Bench a TARDIS. Is that scratch built or a kit? Do tell.
No. No.
Do you know where we are now, Ted?
No.
No.
You know where you just read the comment I just read, about 2 down from that?
Yeah, spaghetti with carbonara. I just put in Polaroid, so I get
That's the one.
Is your Phil Kett is your TARDIS your rewind button? Angus, just
you're supposed to read them out, not just read through. Michael Jackerman was the next one, Ted.
Right, Michael Jackerman. It's just put Polar Lights 13500 Enterprise NX01 up for sale due to there being no Aztecing. Due to the Aztecing and no space for it. Oh, sorry, he's got to the decal stage, and is that right?
The Aztecing is the paneling pattern, and it's often you have to paint it, and it's a massive job.
Ah, right.
Like thousands and thousands of little tiny squares that are a slightly different colour to the base hull colour.
But I can understand having no space for things because I build things and I start them. I don't have any intention of. Well, it's a good job. Most of my models go back to eModels because I just haven't any space to keep them anyway.
You get to that stage, then you start reducing the size of the kits you've got in your stash because you know when you've built them, you're going to have no room to store them anyway.
Well, Chris is knackered because he started at 1/44 scale. Oh no, my cupboards are full of these 17,000 kits I've built. I better move down to like 750.
So what does everybody else do with their kits? Do you keep them for so long and then sort of they move along the shelf until they fall off into the bin, or give them to kids to play with? And
I've just put some more shelves up and put a few kits on them. So
Yeah. I'm pretty lucky actually, because family members know I build anyway. They'll see something they like and they go, "Oh, you couldn't build that for us, could you?" And I just build it and they come and collect it and it gets stored in their house, not mine.
See, that's not a bad thing. It's like if you're the only person in the family that knows about computers, then you are the unfortunate tech support, and you hate that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh God, really? But if you're like a model maker who says, "Oh, would you build that for me?" You'd be like, "Yeah," because I like doing it.
Yeah, I don't mind, you know.
And the good thing is, if it's family, you can do a half-baked job and they'll still like it because they won't know.
Yeah, it's good. Like that's probably why they come to me then.
Eric Graham says, "Belly coffee." This is correct. Bench Tamiya 135th Walker Bulldog tank and a clogged airbrush. Clean that sucker out.
Yeah, clean it out. Yeah. Many a time I've woke up in bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, sprung up. Haven't cleaned my airbrush. Oh.
Ding. Yes, I do recommend if you haven't already got airbrush cleaning brushes, do go and get yourself some. I used to hate cleaning my airbrush because it was a pain in the bum, and then I got some actual airbrush cleaning brushes. I'm like, this is really easy. I'm finished.
Yeah.
If you also as well, here's a handy tip: airbrush cleaning brushes are brilliant, but get yourself go to the dentist or to local chemist and get some of them little tiny interstitial dental brushes, the little tiny yellow plastic thing with a tiny little. They are always about the right size to go into the back of a nozzle, so you can dip it into something. Most airbrush cleaning brushes don't include a tiny brush to get into the back of the nozzle, but little interstitial dental brushes usually are.
Yeah, you can get them in yellow and red. They're a godsend, they are.
Yeah, I've got some of the ones we've got. My dad bought 25 years ago, and there's a big batch of them in the cupboard.
Yeah,
and they're still going. Any good paints for the Revell USS Voyager NCC 74656? Asks Tiger Straps 120. Depends how accurate you want to be.
Yeah.
If you want to be super accurate to the filming miniature, you probably want to start with something like Tamiya's light blue. Medium blue, light blue. When I used to make Star Trek kits, I found that a lot of the vehicles were Tamiya. They were the same color as Tamiya light blue with a bit of white added. A little bit of white added to it. It's a very pale blue, not quite eggshell blue. But the Voyager, I can never remember if it's a little bit grayer than that. They look grey on screen, but if you watch, for example, DS9, the runabouts look grey on screen. But when you see the filming miniature, it's kind of all shades of whites and greys. But when you see the set piece, when they're walking into the airlock, and you see a little bit of the hull, it's a light blue colour. So I like to build it based on the light blue colour. When you see the Reliant from the Wrath of Khan, the filming model was actually in all shades of sort of eggshell blue, duck egg blue. It looks grey on screen, but when you see the miniature, so whenever I do a Reliant, it's always shades. And I always used to use Tamiya, it's not medium blue, it's the Tamiya light blue. I can't remember the XF number. And I do different shades of that with different amounts of white added. But I don't know for sure whether the Voyager was grey or blue. I can't remember. But the difficulty with the Voyager is there's no Aztecing on it. There's no Aztec paneling on it.
That's right.
So it's really hard. It's a real challenge to make it not look like just a flat grey colour or a flat blue colour. It's quite challenging.
Yeah, the trouble is, I mean, I can understand wanting to make it look like the actual filming miniature, but that's not what everyone sees. So do you really want to make it look like the miniature, or do you want to make it look like it appears on the screen, or anywhere in between?
Yeah, because everybody will come around on it and say, it's the wrong colour, it's blue.
But that's the thing. I mean, that's the beauty of it. I mean, I see Reliance all the time, and they're all white and grey, and I'm like, yeah, but the filming model was blue, and I think it looks much better in shape. Say again?
Does it depend, I suppose, on whether you're going for accuracy, I suppose, or
I don't know. I just think it looks better. I just think it looks better.
It's even accuracy of what accuracy you're after, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
it's like the Enterprise D was all shades of blues and greens when you see the studio model, and you see it later on in some of the films where you can actually see the colour. In some of the later series, it is actually shades of blues and greens, but on telly it just looks grey. So either is valid because you're either painting it.
I would probably think in the painting like that, so it's highlights and shades for when the studio lights are on it.
Yeah. Don't forget, Ted doesn't know what the Voyager is either.
No.
The only thing I've got in my head at the moment is the Starship Enterprise and Captain Kirk.
Near enough. But yeah,
Very
that's the
similar,
big challenge with the Voyager is there's no Aztec paneling on it. So you've saved yourself a job. You haven't got the nightmare of Aztec paneling, but you've got to do something to make it look not just flat blue grey.
Yeah, I'm thinking of some kind of pin wash on mine or something just to try to give it that definition on the panels, because like you say, it just looks like an upside down spoon otherwise.
Spoon!
Spoon, innit?
I've nipped through the chat a little bit further, and I've found out that sliders are like small burgers.
Okay.
They're teeny tiny burgers and small, and White Castle is American. Snack size sliders is snack size food. Yeah, there we go. Sliders is also an American TV show with that bloke who played Gimli. It's pretty cute. Yeah.
And I also find out further on in the chat that it was Simon Payne who fell in the pond.
That was it. I knew, because I knew somebody stepped off a thing and fell in a pond and knackered their arm, their leg or something, their ankle. And I kept thinking it was, I think, somebody else.
That's followed by a question from Dave Cardboard. What's the worst smell ever?
Oh, mate, that would have to be my late granddad's feet. He was alive when his feet smell. I just want to emphasise that.
We could smell them from here, so I can agree with that one.
Oh, mate, they were minging.
What's the worst smell? I've told the story before when I was given a roadkill fox. I had to eviscerate it. I had to boil it for a week to get the bones out to rebuild it for my biology teacher. Rotten boiling fox in a tin in the biology lab, smothered in air freshener. It's not.
Oh yeah.
Well, just think how it would be without the air freshener.
We had to literally evacuate the classroom for like 3 days.
Oh, nasty.
But I had to stay in the back room watching it, and I'm like,
Yeah, I suppose that's on that note. Then it could be decomposting flesh or anything like that, whether it be a wild animal or something like that. So,
no idea.
Lewis
has got a question.
Oh, go on.
Lewis says, it's mine and Nat's wedding anniversary on Saturday. My question is, how can I get out of it? My answer is by asking questions like that.
You get out of what,
There's a good chance you won't survive till the weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can actually get out of an anniversary, can you?
No.
Well, you can, but it's not good. Anders Ericsson says sliders is food in snack size, but I misread it as snake size, like snacks. Have you guys attempted, asks HG Barnes, to do a stained glass in a diorama?
No.
no. Next question.
Well, no, but I did do some clear parts on, I think, my D'Agostini Millennium Falcon when I was doing it, when I had it. And I think I did some clear bits on the lights at the back. I just used Tamiya clear colours. On clear parts, you just use some Tamiya clear colours, you can make up nice. That'd be a kind of a way of doing it, I think.
Yeah, there is a way of tinting glass using food colouring and clear, mixing the two together and dipping your parts in that will stain them if that's what you're looking for. If you're on about a stained glass window, as in a church, I haven't done anything as.
No, he says in a diorama.
But it could be a church diorama.
Yeah, food dyes in a, get yourself a glazed medium, a gloss glazed medium. Yeah, food dyes, or just clear paints. Tamiya clear paints, Ammo by me. Do some clear paints. You can brush them on us, or thin them a bit and wash them on. Or no, that would be a stupid idea. Never mind. Moving on. Emma Jane Young says, "Hiya, Emma Jane Young.
Hiya.
Belly beef stir fry with coconut rice and on the bench." No comma, but she did put "and on the bench," so we'll let her off. And on the bench, Metcalfe Village Shop and Cafe, setting a garden diorama. Cool.
Right, that's the model railway buildings. The cardboard railway buildings. Brilliant.
The Speedy Curator says, "Ooh, I love coconut rice." HG Barnes says, "As a Scotsman, I'm insulted, but I don't know what was said." Probably when I did my made in Scotland from Girders.
Probably, yeah. And they're probably insulted again now.
Yeah, my dad was from Glasgow, so he oscillates wildly in his jar when he hears me do a Scottish accent.
Peter Diamond's asking, what's the best stuff to use for fixing clear parts?
I've got some stuff here, if I can find it, which I probably can't find.
That's no use at all.
I think we all use contact to clear, don't we?
Yeah, I've got some new stuff. Find it.
I've got some Revell Contactor Clear, or you can use Microscale Industries Micro Crystal Clear, or you can use PVA glue, which is kind of what these are.
You can get Umbral Clear Fix as well, can't you? So,
Basically, it's any glue that dries clear and transparent and doesn't give off vapor. So Revell Contactor Clear is brilliant. They're also known as canopy. You'll see them called canopy glues. But it says here transparent parts glue. It's basically, it's not just PVA glue. It's thinned down PVA glue with some other chemicals. And the beauty of this kind of glue is, A, it's clear. It doesn't fuck up your clear parts. But also, it's not a massively permanent fix. So if you want to temporarily put a canopy on a plane to protect the cockpit while you spray the rest of the plane, you can put the canopy on, mask it off, put the canopy on, spray the rest of the plane, and take the canopy off again, because you can prise it back off.
yeah.
It's not a glue that changes the plastic. It just, if you've used PVA glue at school when you were young, it's the same kind of thing. It just kind of holds it together. So it is a really good glue for lots of things, but perfect for canopies.
Yeah, I can't find the one I have. I got it from eModels, but one I do have, and I've had it in the box for years, is Umbral Clear Fix. Look at how old that bottle is.
Yeah.
They've got the price on it, $1.99.
Yeah.
It's still half full, but it's brilliant stuff. I actually used this the other day for when I did my the soldier, the 8th Army figure. I glued his head on with that,
Yeah.
and then at the end, snapped it off and finished painting.
They're good temporary glues, but the difficulty, the reason you don't want to use any other plastic cements is because all other cements and glues give off vapors. That's what clouds the acrylic of your clear parts, and it can chemically react with them. That canopy glues and stuff like that, Clear Fix, it's completely inert. It doesn't do anything to the clear part plastic acrylic. So that's why you don't want to use your normal polystyrene cements. Whenever you see something that's got a canopy and it's all fogged up, and it's because they've used regular glues, and that's the worst thing.
That's a very principle they use in fingerprint labs when they super glue products for fingerprints. They heat the super glue up, let the vapor run over the. Say you had fingerprints on this glass, they put it in a cabinet with super glue next to it, and let the vapor waft over it, and it will stick to the fingerprint.
Handy tip though, because I know some people will have done this in the past. If you should get super glue fogging up a clear part, because it can happen. It's because, like Ted said, the vapors come off and they fog up the clear part. It's not if you use normal polystyrene cement on clear parts and it fogs it up, you're knackered. That's it. The plastic's ruined. If you use CA glue, super glue, and it's near a plastic clear part and it fogs it up, you can rectify that quite simply. And I did this on one of my models. I had a clear base on a model and it was covered in the vapors from the diorama. All I did was I got some isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and you just get the clear part and a cotton bud and you rub it over where it's gone fogged. As long as it's on the outside, not on the inside. If it's the inside of a cockpit, you're knackered. But say it's fogged up on the outside of something, you just rub the alcohol over that carefully. Just moisten, you don't need dripping wet, just moisten it. And then keep doing that. It might take you a couple of days of just checking it every few hours and just redoing it. Eventually, it'll stop being fogged up. Because basically you're clearing off any of the vapor and residue, and eventually the glue is fully cured. And it's not giving off any vapor anymore, and it's not fogging up. So I had a base of a flyer stand for a model and had some super glue in the base, in the diorama, and it fogged up the bottom. So every couple of hours, just come over the cotton bud, get some isopropyl alcohol on the clear part, it'd go away. It'd come back again after a few hours, but it'd be less and less each time, and eventually it went away. Might not always work, but it's just a handy tip if it's CA glue that's fogged up your clear parts. But yeah, canopy glue's your best bet.
Okay. Well, people are asking, telling us what they did with their old models.
Question for you, Ted.
Am I doing the live stream this week? Yes, probably on Wednesday. Yep.
Speedy Curate asks, for you, how big a Velux window will be needed to get the Titanic out of your new workbench? Room?
Very big, because I'll have to take the roof off.
Yay.
Yeah.
Mark says, salad sandwiches in the belly and Prince Eugen on hold as I haven't got the correct paint to spray it.
Dave Cardboard says he found some interdental brushes with rubber rather than bristle tips. Great for nozzle cleaning. Got them from. I would like to find them.
I've not tried those. I've got the little bristly brush ones that are about 25 years old. So, Phil Kett confirms the TARDIS is part of the Airfix Welcome Aboard kit.
Oh.
H.E. Barnes says, stop the accents because your British ones are awful. We're all actually German and just trying to read.
Yeah, I think chat is totally mixed up for me in a moment.
Are you on live chat or top chat, Ted?
I'm on live chat, but I'm totally lost about where I am. Donald McKenzie said he mounted 2 of his Bandai Millennium Falcons in picture frames and gave them to mates at work. And he's already got 2 orders. That's it, unfortunately. When you start doing things for mates at work, people see them, oh, yeah, that's all right. Yeah. Can you do me one?
Yeah, Michael Jackaman says his aircraft and ships all go to local museums.
Mm-hmm.
CFC's asking, would you recommend a 1/200th scale trumpeter ship for a novice builder?
Probably not. I wouldn't recommend it as a novice builder because you're looking at the Titanic. That's as big as that's 1/200 scale. It's going to be huge. You're going to have lots to do in that. Even if it's not the Titanic, you're still going to be looking at photo etch, really tiny pieces, lots of detail, airbrushing. I'm assuming that as a novice, you're probably not going to have an airbrush and things like that.
Yeah.
To get the best out of it, you'll need to airbrush it. You can hand paint it with a big 2-inch brush or something, but I'd say start with something a little bit smaller and work up to it. By the time you've got your tools and your kit together, then you can move on to something bigger.
I mean, if ships are your thing, if you like big boats and you cannot lie, as it were, have a look around at some less complex top of the range type kits. Ravel's 1/72nd scale U-boats are actually really quite good. Now I know I rag on Ravel, and they're not perfect, but I've made 3 of the 7C U-boats, and they're actually about 3 foot long, and they're actually quite good. They're pretty good kits, and they'd be all right for beginners, as long as you don't use the thread that comes with it for the antenna cables. But they'll be all right. And lots of the Ravel do a lot of ship and boat kits as well. Some of them are a bit shonky and need a lot of cleanup work, but some of them are just great for beginners because you're getting used to building, you're getting used to painting and weathering. It's more about getting used to painting and weathering, and then work your way up to photo etch complicatedness. Yeah.
If you want to build something on a bigger scale, 1/35, for instance, have a look at the Teleri MTB. Something like that.
Well, everybody likes the Schnell boots, don't they?
Schnell boot.
Yeah, there's quite a few like talking boats and PT Cruiser kits in like 1/35 more. They're like that big because they're massive. It depends if you're a novice, though. It depends whether you want to focus on. Like Ted says, there's 2 things you want to learn. You want to get used to doing the painting and the weathering because you either want it really weathered or really not weathered. But also with trumpeter stuff like that, it's the photo etch and the tiny details. And photo etch is a skill into itself, so it might be worth easing yourself in on something less.
Yeah, we'd much rather say no. Don't go out and buy a 200 kit because you'll get fed up of it. You'll sit in a corner and you'll never come back to modelling. Go build something a little bit easier. Maybe pick up something. If it's a boat, if you want to build boats, build boats, or pick up one of the kits that we've built on the eModels build series, and follow the build along with that and have a look.
Because it'd be a shame to spend hundreds of pounds on that big 200 scale Titanic, only to realise in 6 weeks that you really wanted your sports cars.
Yeah.
You'd be like, "Oh, I've done something terrible there."
Plus, you could, rather than spend £200 or £300 on a £200 on that big kit, you could spend that much on tools and buy a smaller kit, then have the tools to move on.
Yeah, because then you can always get to that big scale. Well, the small scale is the better phrase. You can get to that small scale, large kits when you've got the confidence to do so. But if you're just starting out, you really want to just get your chops first. You want to develop your skills on the cheap kits and get your practice in, because then when you do come to something like that, you know how to do the painting, you know how to do any weathering, you know how to assemble photo etch.
Yeah,
good thing.
That as a target growl build, can't you? For when you've honed your skills, you can practice on a few smaller glass ones and scale ones and aim towards that level. Yeah.
And I would say as well with photo etch, if you want to ease yourself into photo etch, because photo etch is one of those things that some people can do it and some people hate it, and you either hate it or it's a marmite. It really is. I hate doing photo etch because I'm useless at it. If you're looking at a big, massive, say, boat kit with lots of photo etch and stuff like that, and boats are your thing, it is worth, once you've built a few kits and you're happy with the painting and everything else, have a look at some of Trumpeter's cheaper armored fighting vehicle kits, tanks and APCs and stuff. It may not be what you want to build, but you're getting a kit for 20 or 30 quid that comes with a rack of photo etch. Because they often come with photo etch with some of the stowage crates and stowage canisters and railings and stuff. And it's not too complicated. They're all fairly basic, like make a stowage box out of photo etch. You get practice there. For 20 or 30 quid, you're getting a kit that you can practice your tiny little fiddly photo etch on. And then you'll be like, right, now I can do photo etch and I don't mind doing it. And now I can go and get that big 200 scale boat with 1 billion photo etch parts on it, because some of them can be tiny at that scale.
Yep. So good. Yeah, let us know how you get on anyway, TFC.
Yeah.
Let us know what you choose. But yeah, there's lots of information out there. Go, as I say, go across, have a look at some of our build videos, and you might, someone on there might whip your fancy.
Raging Muller asked me what's with the beret. I said I wear a different hat every week. Mike Mountain, aka Dad, sent me this last week to wear. So I've stuck some badges on it. These are all genuine 1970s badges, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some vintage badges stuck on it, and it's actually a little bit too small. It's not quite the right size, but yeah, with the model making, going back to that ship thing, keep in mind, model making is a hobby for decades.
Yes.
So don't be in a rush to do everything in the first 6 months. There's kits I would love to build. I would love to make another USS Reliant, but I'm not going to, because I've tried it in the past and I've not got the skills to make a decent looking USS Reliant. And I might do one day, but to do it, there's the old AMT one that I want to make. It's a massive model.
Yeah.
But so much work needs to be done to it. I haven't got those skills, but I know I will have one day, and I'm happy to put it to the side and think that's a one day kit.
Well, yeah, that becomes your, like you say, it becomes your growl build, doesn't it?
Yeah. You were going to say something, by the way, Colin, weren't you, when I was talking a minute ago?
Oh, mate, I can't remember.
Blinks is then.
Yeah, I'm a goldfish, mate.
Philip Book says he's feeling a bit sad tonight, not feeling it, needs cheering up.
It's probably the weather, mate. We all get a bit like that. But, you know, if you've lost your mojo, try something else to wet your palette, mate. Perhaps, you know, a genre of kit that you haven't built before.
I've got a very fun game for you to play. It's called Who is Your Daddy and What Does He Do? Very fun game.
Anders says, you guys dodged my question about dry transfer decals.
I missed it
Not deliberately.
Oh,
Ask us again, because I didn't see it.
Yeah,
And
missed it.
there's obviously so much going on in chat, we've got no hope of seeing it all. So
Well, you
ask
can't-
again, keep asking until we answer.
dry transfer, that's a bit like the old Lectra set you used to get, wasn't it? The old
Yeah, like rub it on. Rub over the top of the pencil.
I'm assuming he's got a Gunpla with dry transfers or something similar. It's a Japanese thing now, but
Yeah, they weren't my favourite thing, I must admit.
ask it again, because putting
Oh, he just has. He just has.
Oh, has he?
He says, question, how do I use dry transfer decals? Do I need to have a glossy surface? Does it need to be covered with any varnish?
No. Dead simple. You will need, I haven't got what it is, have. All you will need is a nice sharp blade on your knife and a roll of sellotape.
No.
Yep. The dry transfer comes on a plastic sheet with a frosted piece of backing paper. Always keep it on that backing paper. It protects the transfer. You cut the transfer out. You place it. There's a shiny side, and the rough side that frosted paper covers up. That's the live side. You take the shiny side, and you place it face down on the desk. The shiny side is on your bench like that. I know you can't see this because the camera's not there. Take the shiny side, backing paper there. That way on your desk. You then take a small piece of sellotape, and no, hang on, I've got the wrong way around. Start again. Been a while since we've done one. Get your dry transfer. Cut it out, but keep the backing paper on the active side. Put it on the bench with the backing paper on. Then you take your piece of sellotape and you place it over the shiny side. That's the non-active side. You then lift it up and peel off or remove the little frosted piece of paper. And what you've got is sellotape with your dry transfer here, and that's the active bit underneath. And you place it onto the model. Use clear sellotape because you can line it up. Place it onto the model, get it right, and then you get like something gentle and soft, like a soft pencil, or you could use the round end of some nippers or something like that.
Yeah.
Literally just rub it.
Yeah, the end of your paintbrush handle or something like that.
Yeah, end of your paintbrush. You can use the end of a modelling knife. You just gently rubbing it like that with a smooth, soft edge. And as you rub over it, you'll see if it's a black mark, like a black symbol, it'll start to look a bit faded. And what basically happens is the marking is transferred from the plastic carrier sheet onto the model. And then you
Transferred.
you see, because it's just like it uses, I think, static electricity and some other bits and bobs that activate it, and it just moves off the plastic film onto the model. And what you do is you rub it till it looks like it's faded, and then you very gently peel the said tape back and lift with it the plastic sheet. and you'll see if when you lift it up slowly, if it's fully transferred, it'll stay on the model. If it starts to pull up a little bit, you need to put it back down again and keep rubbing. They're actually really easy. It's just fiddly to get them on the model, and if it's on a
But
curved
the surface doesn't need any special prep.
no, it's best to do it actually on a matte surface or a matte. It's actually better on a matte surface because it can grip to the paint better.
So
On a glossy
give it
surface,
a little coat of matte varnish then in the area, would you, before you
or do it on bare paint, which
Phil East is saying the same there. He's saying to Anders, Google the tape method. It's awesome.
because before then you'd have to literally put it onto the model and place it and hold it. Just you need to make sure you detack your sellotape. So get your piece of sellotape and do that on your leg or your arm or something a few times.
Yeah.
Paint off. So matte varnish the model is the best bet. You want a rough surface, unlike a water slide dick. You want a rough surface because it's just literally a piece of plastic film with a marking stuck. But always keep that backing paper, the frosted stuff on it. When you're putting the tape on it, it will just stay on the desk. And it's easy to do. It's just fiddly if it's not a flat surface.
Yeah.
If you've got a surface that's like this, just don't even bother.
Yeah.
Bandai do some of their dry rubs to go over like corners, and I'm like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Someone didn't think that through. Yeah.
I think the only dry rubs I ever did was action transfers, when you used to get a card of like a Sky, and you had a Battle of Britain scene. You could rub
That's right. Yeah.
I had the one with like New York police and like gangster.
you used to rub them down so hard that the imprint of the sticker was on the other side. You could see them.
Yeah, you used to have like a little cartoon or background scene on the card, didn't you? And you could
you had a castle, and then you had some knights and damsels in distress.
I'm sure I remember having a Batman one.
Yeah, I remember them now. Yeah.
We have another question. Tim Young says, question, have you used wire for rigging or aerial cables? I tried 0.07 millimeters, but it was hard to get it taut.
Did you use Easy Line?
No, we use wire.
Right. Yeah. Wrong stuff.
Easy Line.
Yep. Now, eModels don't have any Easy Line in stock, but they do have the Ammo by MIG equivalent.
Yeah, they have rigging line. It is quite thin.
Yeah. Another good thing for aerials on tanks is the brittles out of a stiff yarn.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't use it for like whip aerials, but for things like aerial, like on the U-boats, like I said before,
or on an aircraft if you're running an aerial from the
Easy Line's got such a good give in it.
Yeah, a lot of people use normal cotton thread, but that's the worst idea in the world.
Yeah.
That Revell U-boat I mentioned comes with cotton thread. You throw it away; it's no use whatsoever. If you use cotton thread, the thread goes like that all the way along it, and it looks garbage.
Yeah, that normally goes to the wife's sewing box, and the Easy Line comes out. It's like,
Easy Line is basically rubber thread, and it stretches up to 700% of its length. And all you do is you cut a bit off longer than you need. You get a tiny touch of super glue, stick it to the whatever you're sticking it to on one end, let it dry, and then stretch it out and stick it to the other end. Done.
Yeah,
that easy. It is known as Easy Line, but like I said, take a look on the eModels website. It's the Ammo by MIG rigging line, I think it's called.
Yeah, I think they've got some 0.7 mil. So if that's the size you're looking for, but it is really fine stuff. So it might not be as thick as you want, but otherwise you might have to search around Tinterwebs for something until you find it.
It's interesting that the origin of it is that it was used to make telephone wires for model railway dioramas.
Yeah,
because you can stretch it, or you can have it loose and it'll hang. But I saw one where there were two telephone poles and the line between it was taut, but the guy went, and the poles are going like this, the plastic pole, but this thread is just like, it's just stretching. You can stretch it; it's not going to break.
Paul Lines has got a question. Have any of you used the sea salt chipping technique, and if so, is it any good or easy to do?
I've heard of it. I've not used it. I just go use the hairspray technique or the heavy chipping fluid from Amomig. I've used that. That's all I've ever done.
I've used it. It's fine. It's a good way of doing it. It's just not as accurate or controllable as using hairspray or using chipping fluids or just painting chips on manually. But it's quite. You don't have to use sea salt. Any salt will do. Sea salt's nice and chunky and got bigger chunks. But it's a lot less controllable than using like solutions or just painting on.
Yeah, I tend to just use the chipping medium and paint on little extra bits as I need to. But
Yeah, I mean, I've got to the point now where I don't even bother. I just manually paint chips nowadays because I actually enjoy doing little tiny chips. I'm like, yay!
you've honed that technique down, ain't you? I've been watching your stuff recently because it's something I want to get into. You know.
Well, the thing for me with chipping is it's more like silly relaxing times because I just sit there and go, right, I can turn my brain off. Whee! I'm just painting tiny little chips. I've kind of got my routine down pat. Get some playlists, get some podcasts on.
It's probably teeth back in. Yeah, post chipping does work pretty well, and it worked pretty well if you forgot to do the hairspray technique.
Yeah. Alex Erickson says, great answer, Fox, about the dry rubs. I ordered some decals for dashboards. If you're applying dry rubs to a surface and it's like a dashboard, sand it flat. Don't have any of the raised dashboard details because the same way decals don't really stick to them, neither will dry rubs. You want it to be a flat surface. So if you've got like a dashboard with raised molded detail like dials and things, sand that off. If whatever it's portraying dials and stuff, just sand that flat like you would with a water slide decal. Otherwise it won't stick.
Yeah, AJ's got a blast from the past there saying that he used to get the dry transfers in boxes of shreddies with the scene on the back. Happy days.
Yeah.
Who remembers when shreddies were actual shreddies and not special K? No, when special K were more like Rice Krispies.
Do you remember you used to get the cereal packets where you had the toy inside? You know,
Yeah.
the actual thing. You didn't have to send off for anything, but it was in a plastic bag.
Yeah, you used to get it inside the box. Yeah, Weetabix used to do the cardboard models you used to be able to cut out on the back and assemble of the Weetabix lorry and things like that.
I think we actually I actually got a little Airfix Red Arrow kit, like a 5-part kit. It's a cereal one. More questions, folks. Give us more questions.
Yeah, that way.
We've caught up to the end of the chat.
You what?
We've caught up to the end of the chat at last, so you know,
Oh, no.
just in time to almost finish the show.
Oh, here we go. It's a question from Graham McRobert from earlier on. What music were you into as teenagers?
Hard rock.
Yeah, I think the music that I had was when I was a teenager was like Beethoven and Mozart and things like that.
You were just banging two rocks together.
Yeah, I've never really been into music in a big way at all, any time in my life, so not really.
I was lucky. My mum got me into Led Zeppelin at an early age, and so
I was into
my sort of genre of music.
I wasn't really into music till I got to about 17, and then I somehow discovered Jean-Michel Jarre, and that sent me off into like electronica.
Yeah, I was well into that, but yeah, I was like maybe not a generation before that. I saw the punk craze right from its start.
Yeah,
you started the punk craze. You were there. You were.
I was that
the anti-nowhere league, Ted.
Yeah.
You've got the snapped in half pool cue to prove it.
Yeah.
He hasn't got the blue hair anymore, though.
Nah.
Just imagine Ted in a mohawk.
It's still there. Yeah, I had punk, Sex Pistols, things like that. But yeah, I was never into it. But yeah, then as Fox, I was off into the electronics and that sort of thing.
I mean, I had no interest in music. So my brothers were into the top 40 and stuff in the 80s, and I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But then I was at school one day and I heard some music. I was like, what is that? And someone said, it's Rendezvous. I was listening to Rendezvous 2 from Jean-Michel. I was like, oh!
Yeah, my brother was into Jean-Michel Jarre.
Yeah, and that set me off for 20 years, and then I fell out of that and started doing orchestral stuff. But yeah, that's.
Osric has an important question. He says, "Has Ted shrunk?"
You've
not got problems with your chair again, have you, Ted?
No, I'm just sliding down in the chairs and getting more relaxed as the night goes on.
He's got less gin in his system, so he's a bit more flippy floppy.
He's having withdrawal symptoms, isn't he?
He's not had a gin for a week. He's a withered husk.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep topped up on water. It's actually water because I'm shriveling. That's what it is. I'm not shrinking. I'm shriveling because I'm drying out.
Tim Young says, question. Put your questions in capitals, by the way, folks, so we can spot them. Question: what annoys you about kits? For me, it's when you can't make up all the pictured models with the included parts and decals. There are only enough to do a selection of those shown. So what gravels your ass about model kits?
You never find
nothing particularly.
Yeah, all the sprues coming in one bag, or they have lots of different boxes, but the sprues in them are just random. You know, like box A doesn't contain sprues A, B, C, D. Box B contains E, F, G, etc. They're just random.
For me, it's kit chrome.
Oh, yeah.
It is the worst thing imaginable. It is the bane of my life, that stuff.
Yeah, it's horrible. I don't know why they bother. For me, it is, having made Bandai Gunpla kits for a while. Something that was never a problem until I made good quality Bandai kits was seam lines or join when you get two parts that join together. And you kind of realize after you make some Gunpla kits, when you get these aircraft and they have two-part hulls on the left side and the right side with a seam line all the way down the middle,
Yeah,
you don't need to do that.
yeah,
You quite easily build the hull in such a way that all the joint lines
yeah.
naturally fall where there are actual panel lines on the model.
Yeah, some of the gating is crummy, isn't it, mate?
Bandai, when they do their kits, a lot of times they'll try and make joint lines fit where there's an actual panel line on the model. So if you've got, say, two parts here, and there's supposed to be an actual panel line on the vehicle, they'll just make that the joint. There you go. So you put it together, and you don't have to fill it or anything. When you experience that, and they do it really well, you can make a Bandai Gunpla kit, and there'll be almost no seam lines to fill at all. And then you look at an aircraft kit which is just made of joints, and you're like, you could have hidden the joints in so many different ways, and you didn't bother.
I've got a question for you. If you could change Bandai so that their plastic was just like regular kit plastic, would you do that so that you can use all your weathering techniques without worry?
Yeah, no, because then it would lose the beauty of the Bandai. Well, for Gunpla, I would say no, because they need to be articulated. And Bandai have said in the past the reason they use the plastics they do is because they need to be durable and articulated. And actual traditional model making plastics are too brittle.
Yeah, I suppose because kids play with them, and yeah,
there's a lot of young kids. But for things like the non, some of the stuff they do that's not actually like playable or posable, it would be great if they didn't use that polystyrene. But they're not going to do that. They did do a line of kits called UCS Hardcraft, which were actually proper polystyrene injection molded, glue them together kits from Mobile Suit Gundam Universe. They're hard to get hold of. They didn't do many of them, but they were really nice kits. I need to get one at one point, so they can do them. But
Graham's asking me whether the Concorde was an easy build. Yes, it is, but just be careful of the mechanism for the nose, because it's made of the same clear plastic as the windows for some reason, and it does break. I think in the end I ended up making my own mechanism, but still managed to drop it and break it off. So that's probably the biggest problem with it.
Did we find out what annoyed Chris about model kits?
Nothing really. Not anything particularly. No. I'm very easygoing. I don't get annoyed about much, so just it is what it is.
There is also a question saying about not getting annoyed. Chris, your thoughts on doing a digital camo on a Baneblade? Asks Eric Graham.
Yeah, everyone should try it. It's great fun.
It's actually come up really well, though. You've got to give yourself a pat on the back, mate.
Give us a look at it, Chris. Go on. Give us a proper look.
Yeah, I'm on. You know you want it.
We can't see it because the camo works so well. That
the tank's, I think, behind you. I'm not sure whether it's because it's camouflage.
Somewhere.
There we go.
Yeah, look at that.
I'm still doing bits here and there. The camo bit obviously is finished.
Yeah.
But I'm still doing little touches of metallics and things. I'm going to do a bit more on the barrel and stuff like that. But yeah, it's getting there. And then obviously all the weathering and stuff after that.
Absolutely.
I do love the fact you've put a main cannon on the little front sponson bit as well, so it's got two main cannons. I love
You need more cannons and stuff,
mate.
and all the guns. Yeah.
Stickability, Chris. That's up there, mate.
It's like this tank comes with 8 different main cannons. Let's apply them all.
Yeah, would they allow that on the gaming table, or would it create too many points or something like that? Whatever happens,
I have no idea.
In my mind, it wouldn't matter. It's a tank with big boomsticks, and it's like,
you need to take it to your local store and have a game.
I'm going to enter it into the competition when it's finished. There'll be a competition that it will suit into of vehicles or something, and they'll get cross. It'll be great.
Yeah. But look, which one wins? I don't know. I can't see it. You've not submitted anything. Let's have a look. HG Barnes says we've got some music answers. AJ was a new romantic. My first ever album that I bought was Adam and the Ants. Kings of
the Wild Frontier.
Yeah, I was never a new romantic myself, but I did quite like the music.
Yeah, no, my wife was. She was into all of that.
I thought you would. I know you're into your metal stuff, but I would have thought you'd be more of a two-tone kind of person, Cole.
I was a bit fond of a bit of madness and the specials, I must admit. But
I just had you pegged.
yeah, I mean, I was just brought up on guitar-based rock, hence all my Iron Maiden tattoos and symbology to all of that. I just like that aggressiveness, but also, you like to say, you know, a bit of ska and.
H.G. Barnes said the best music for modelling is Space Mind.
I did have some music. I don't know if you've heard of them. Have you heard of a French group called Space? There was another group.
Yes, that was in the same days as Kitaro and
Yeah, it was in
weird new age
yeah.
electronic.
I think they had a hit in the UK with Magic Fly.
Yeah.
I've got a few albums of theirs, and they're pretty.
Yeah, Kitaro was quite good. Kitaro was like a watered down Vangelis.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same thing. Is in the early 80s, it was fine to be in all sorts of genres, and it's true, mate. You know, I was the whole mods and rockers thing, whereas I bridged the two. I liked a bit of that music and a bit of that music, so I was
You were
easy.
just a mocker, weren't you?
And I did have a metal mullet, don't forget. So yeah,
Were you a mocker or a rod?
I was a rod, mate.
Rod. Ian Thompson has a good question. When we're talking about like putting decals and stuff onto dashboards, he says, Foxx, wouldn't the microscale products soften a decal to fit a dashboard, like something like Microsol or Microset or anything like that?
Yeah.
The simple answer is no. If you've got anything with raised molded detail, like the back wall of a Millennium Falcon, for example, or a dashboard or an instrument panel in a plane, and it's got little dials and switches molded, no matter what you do, that decal will go on, but it will look like biblical ass, because the decal, even if you drown it in decal setting solution, a decal can cope with a little bit of raised panel line or a little bit of ribbing or something like, or a rivet here and there. But when it's the whole surface is dials and controls and dashboards, and it's not going to, you're going to end up with a decal that looks like rubbish, because all the light is going to be bouncing off it in the wrong angles. It's going to be shiny where all the raised surfaces are. If you're doing dashboards and instrument panels, it's always best, if you've got a decal that replaces all the molded detail, just sand it flat, because then you have a nice flat surface with flat decals, and all the dials and switches and things will be like nice and flat, and then you can just matte varnish it and it look fantastic. Just, I wouldn't it's never going to, it's going to look terrible. Trust me on that. Trust me on that one.
Yeah, I remember on my 124th Typhoon, the cockpit instrument panel was all raised details, when he had to put each individual decal on separate for each instrument. Yeah, it's
well, that's a bit different. If you've got a molded instrument ensconcement, like you've got a dial and it's molded the dial frame, and the decal is the bit that goes in the middle of that, the actual dial itself, then that's not a problem. But if the decal is the whole instrument panel,
no,
then that's where you can't do it. Like I said, if it's like just the decal is just the dial, then you can do it fine.
Yeah, I mean, when I did my Huey, I cut the instrument panel into each individual dial thing and got them on that way, because at least then it adhered to the shape you was doing just for that size, rather than the whole thing. Because time you get to the upper end, it's going to have shrunk. So
I'm going to put this up because it's getting kind of uncomfortable and warm on my head now. I just point out that, no disrespect to anybody in the army, but berets are rubbish.
it's a good hat choice. The fact before we went live with this beret was hilarious.
It's just a stupid
Stop whining like a princess.
nonsense hat.
Anyway, we have what might be the last question of the night. Modelmaking Mayhem says an AMA. When will any of you guys build a Gunpla again? He said. I think it's Ted's turn, isn't it?
I've built one. No, it's over there.
I did one in digital camo.
I've built many. I do have the HD Kshatriya to build at some point. I've got quite a few Gunpla in my stash. I got burnt out on Gunpla. It's not like you build a kit and paint it. Gunpla is you build a kit and then spend 2 weeks sleepless nights because you can't figure out how to paint it in such a way that all the paint doesn't come off.
You've just finished that mission as well, haven't you? And that was quite intense, wasn't it?
Yeah. Gunpla is great, but it takes a billion years to paint, because you can't just paint it like you paint a tank or a truck or something. It's not. So I got burnt out on the mental gymnastics required to figure out how to paint a shiny inner frame and matte armor, but I can't make it. Yeah, I'll get back to it. I've got a Kshatriya. So
Anyway, I'm about to melt in here because it seems like the temperature's gone up about 40 degrees since I came in. So
My beret's gone all Greek now. Greek Orthodox.
I think Foxx needs to go and take his beret off to allow his head to expand.
Ted's annoyed the Italians. I've just annoyed all the Greek Orthodoxy. So.
Right, so I think we'll leave it and go and get some light refreshments and
Light refreshments.
light refreshments and some ices.
Oh, look, I can do it. Look.
Oh, no, I'm impressed, mate.
Pretty ill. Right, but I think we'll leave it for tonight. And thank you very much, everybody, for joining us once again on a Monday night. We'll be back next week. We should be back next week. Yes, we'll do more of this again. Oops. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. And it's great to see you all back again. And one or two new faces to the panel tonight. So if you're coming next week, bring a friend.
Rubbish.
Yeah. Do keep a lookout during the week for what the rest of us down here doing in live streams again throughout the week. But anyway, thanks for joining us. If you're new to the channel or you just found it by chance, don't forget like and subscribe, tick the little notification bell, and you'll know when we're live again next time. But till then, same time next week, same back channel. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye all.
Bye-bye. Stay safe.
Well, I've got pieces in my ear.